So thank you, XX Dusty XX, for your request, and that was Kate Z and Tuske Into the Heart of Darkness radio edit as usual. We played that tune several times already, I think. And here we are with Atlace again. This is our last block of interview, and
Hello.
I will have a couple of questions back to the topic. We were talking about your first C64 and what did you do back then on it, because you are also recently programming things to that. And yes, I would like to ask you first, what have you done back then when you got this computer? After that, we continue with your recent works.
Yeah, well, I can't really deny it. It's all on CSDB. So when I got it, actually, obviously, apart from playing the games I couldn't play because I didn't have one, but actually I had lots of games even before I got my computer. Let's not talk about it, how I got those. Back in those days, you simply just couldn't buy games in Hungary. And I started to, of course, everyone starts to program it in BASIC and all the simple things, and I got a few friends in Debrecen, because originally I'm from Debrecen.
Basically, we have the same hometown. We have to add that, sorry.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, coming from a town with 200,000 citizens called Debrecen.
Indeed. And they were programming in assembly language, and I was like really mesmerized, like how on earth could you do things I just can't imagine. And somehow, when you start to see the big picture, how things really were behind the scenes, well, I basically started to get more and more friends who actually were into the same thing. Technically, I could call them my mentors. So there were actually two guys, which nobody remembers them anymore. One of them was TSO. He made quite a few demos, and there was another one who was called Art Action. He was another coder, and he was really into the C64. And bit by bit, I started to pick up the skills and knowledges, how it works, and how to code in assembly, and what it really looks like. And to add, I didn't have a documentation. So what I learned, I just learned it from either experience or the word of mouth. I mean, what I heard from others. And sooner or later, I found myself in a demo group called Trias, and we started releasing demos.
And you still do that?
Yeah, well, I've been in a few other groups, like I was in Rebels, Lethargy, Acrise, that was my first Swedish group, and lately in Active. And yeah, we are still releasing demos, although not that often as we did back then, but yeah, we are still doing it.
Yeah, to Data Storm you did release.
Yeah,
so
well,
it was pretty recent.
Yeah, it was recent. Actually, that was sort of a semi-decent production, but somebody actually told me, actually at Datastorm, one of the guys from Insane, it's an Amiga group, that yeah, you can make demos, you can be whatever you call yourself, but the really point behind the scene and the actual demo groups is the friendship. So if friendship is not there, it doesn't really matter. And that's the first thing somebody actually notices.
I think it's really visible at some demo groups how much friends they can be, and definitely it's one of the most important ingredients.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, okay. Let's jump to the next question, if you don't mind then.
Sure.
My usual question number one. Could you mention some of your favorite SIDs or remixes?
Favorite remixes and SIDs, yeah. I wonder how many people could straight answer that. Neither can I. But I have a few favorite SIDs actually. Or if anyone would ask me, like, what is your favorite SID, I would say, well, today I like these, so to speak, because there are literally 10,000 of them. Let's just say the composers I like, of course, apart from the obvious ones like Rob Hubbard, Jeroen Tel, and Brian Overhand.
Jeroen, right? You enlightened me that it's Jeroen.
Well, and Tim, or others know as Bordeaux, enlightened me as well that I've spelled it all time wrong. So there you go.
I guess
you need
everyone
a
does.
Dutch guy. You need a Dutch guy to correct you anyway, who actually knows what you are talking about. Well, he is talking about, but definitely you are not Dutch. You have no idea. Anyway,
Indeed.
So my favorites are not exactly the same as everyone else's. Like, I like the music of Danko, for example. He's a bit of eccentric, and I really like that. Beat Machine, he made lots of music in Future Composer, but he was one of those guys who made it really well. So quite surprising. Of course, Chris Hülsbeck is all-time favorite. Jeff was really good. Laxity is one of the all-time favorite as well for me. Moon, he was really good. He is still very good, and he is quite a nice guy actually. I had the chance to talk to him as well.
Oh.
From the Vibrants, obviously, JCH, Metal, Drax, MSK, also known as O'Neill. Yeah, so absolute favorites.
I would say you are well prepared regarding to that.
Well, if we can allow a bit of behind the scenes, I was allowed to.
Yeah, okay. No, it's
So-
you have to know that usually I'm not asking my guests without any preparations, because usually I like to set up a few questions. Of course, this speaking or talk is spontaneous, but to prepare to those favorite questions, it would be also very difficult for me if I would have to
Yeah.
set up just out of the blue a top 3 or a top 5 or for all those songs,
Yeah.
because I admire a lot and a lot of artists as well. So it would be pretty difficult to answer those out of the blue. This is why I like to be prepared, and I like to
I
prepare
wouldn't do
my
much
guests
good.
as well.
Yeah. Your guest would just say, yeah, right. Well, yeah. So that's
Exactly.
that's not going to work. So basically,
Exactly.
the composers I like are not that the popular, often the popular ones. My favorites are not so popular, but I like the music they made because it's unique, and I prefer unique music rather than. Well, I prefer good music, obviously, but I like those which are a bit unique.
Yeah, and we're gonna prepare one of your seats as well right after we talked. But
But
before
not my seat, hopefully.
yes, hopefully it will work, because SitPlay already shut down several times today. Hopefully it won't do meanwhile playing the tune. So
Yeah.
okay, usual question number 2: favorite C64 games.
Yeah, that's something people can't really answer straight away. Neither can I, again. But of course, the most games were made actually for the C64. So not many people actually knows that or believes that. But this is one of the computers sold in the the biggest numbers, and this is the computer that got the most of the games. And well, I didn't know back then, but most of the games are actually remakes from other platforms. But here goes with the most obvious. I love all the Us Ninja series. Even if people don't really like the third part, I love all of them. I don't really like the RPGs, or it wasn't really called RPG back then. So Bard's Tale and the Curse of the Azure Bonds and stuff like that. But I love the adventure ones like Maniac Mansion, Zack McCracken's, those kind of games. Of course, you can't miss the obvious Impossible Mission, for example. It was one of the first unique game, but wasn't really. So most of the games didn't look like that. That was really a good thing back in this time. Yeah, so apart from the obvious, well, let's just see something which is not that favorite for everyone. Yeah, I would say games like Exile, for example, because of its huge world. I really love that. And other games which were really unique back in the days. For example, it came out on 4 disc size. That's 2 discs, by the way. Project Firestart. That was one of the first sort of real-time adventures where you could do almost everything you wanted. It was actually an Aliens ripoff, but nobody cared about that. It was awesome.
Nice.
Love that. And of course, the Mario ripoff, the Giant Sisters. That's another all-time favorite, along with all the platform games like Creatures, Monster, yeah, Mayhem in Monsterland, and yeah. So
Okay, this is pretty
these are my
much
favorites.
prepared answer, I would say also.
and actually, I didn't
So-
prepare for that. So
Yeah,
That was sort
okay,
of-
okay.
the brain dump.
So, I would leave you then with one of your favorite SID tunes, which hopefully will play here. And this is Link. And we were barely able to find it. I mean, I was barely able to find it because I was looking for Klaus Krongard or something like that. Pronounce it for
Yeah.
me, please.
If I could, I would, but Klaus Krengard, I think. And now
okay.
probably he has the hiccups because I pronounced it wrong.
Doesn't matter. This is what comes up right now. And Tak says this is also not that known tune, but right now we have an opportunity to listen to it. And I would like to thank you for your time and participation today.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, you could hear a very, very old Slate Radio listener,